Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. The whole Alverno family is here today. Students, faculty, staff, alums, trustees, friends, and family members. We're celebrating one of the biggest days in Alverno's history, and we're so glad you're a part of it. I'm Elizabeth O'Hara, a junior here at Alverno.
And I'm Dailen Harris, a freshman. You know why today is so cool? Because ever since I started here, I've been hearing about all the big campus improvements that are coming. Someday, we'll have more classrooms, more meeting rooms, and a big new commons. And thanks to you, it's starting to become a reality.
You know, this is our home. We live here. Dailen and I got to be friends because we live on the same dorm wing.
So for us, you're about to make our home a better place to live, learn, and grow. And that's why we want to start the program off this way. Thank you!
In addition to everyone here in Pittman Theater, we'd like to welcome all the viewers who are watching via a webcast of this event. I know many students have joined us via the web, plus some wonderful campaign donors in Florida, North Carolina, California, and more.
The program today is pretty amazing, so let's get started. When I started at Alverno, Sister Joelle Reed was the name of the college's newest building. But I've recently learned that the name belongs to an incredible school sister, woman, and leader. Sister Joelle graduated from Alverno in 1948. She returned to teach in 1955 and became president in 1968. She held that position for 35 years.
And what she accomplished during that time is amazing. Alverno's famous ability-based curriculum, she supported the faculty in developing it. Weekend college, she helped make it happen. That big, beautiful building with her name on it, the college named it after her to recognize her leadership.
Sister, we're so glad we have the opportunity to introduce you because it gives us a chance to thank you. Elizabeth and I and all the other students enjoy some of the best teaching in the world because you led the change to create it.
Please join us in welcoming and thanking Sister Joelle, who will start our program with an invocation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But I'm supposed to give a prayer. Dear God, we know you are present everywhere, but this afternoon, we ask you to focus on this group which is here before you. Each of us is an investor in the educational work of Alverno. We are trustees, donors, friends, faculty, architects, builders, administrators, staff, alumni, and importantly, students, the ultimate beneficiaries of all the efforts that produce this day for groundbreaking. Once again, Alverno's footprint will change significantly, not only outside, but inside as well. Dear God, your good friend, St. Irenaeus, claimed that your glory is the human person fully alive. Alverno's faculty assumed that understanding into the phrase in sanctitate et doctrina, which is inscribed on the college's seal. I'm telling God a few things in case he doesn't know. Both phrases presume the intense intense work of education. An education that enables a student to give direction to her or his life throughout a lifetime. We ask you then, dear God, for your blessing on this groundbreaking ceremony and on the work to follow. Keep all who turn building plans into reality safe throughout the time frame of this project. Preserve the creativity of the designs for this project, that they be fully realized in the completed work to the satisfaction of all. Inspire faculty and students, the users of these new facilities, that they find them not only useful for teaching and learning, but stimulating of new ideas as well. We ask, dear God, that with your blessing, all of us may be fully alive human beings for your greater glory, and that we live out the truth that the promise of learning is limitless, and the power of teaching makes anything possible. Thanks, dear God. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Joelle.
So, Elizabeth, of all the changes the Promise and Power campaign will make to the campus, what's your favorite?
That's easy. The new commons. How about you?
It's all cool. You know, this will be the biggest change ever to this campus since it was built. There's a lot to like and a lot to look forward to.
And we have our next presenter to thank for spearheading all these wonderful changes. Mary Meehan has been president of Alverno since 2004. She's been a leader of the Promise and Power campaign that will make possible all these campus improvements.
Mary is on the board of the Association of Catholic Colleges and Universities and chairs the board of Wisconsin Association of Independent Colleges and Universities. She also chairs the Sacred Heart School of Theology Board and serves on the boards of Frater Health, the Greenleaf Center for Servant Leadership, and more.
But when we see her in the hall, we don't call her chair or director or president or whatever. We just call her Mary.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome another Alverno leader to whom we students owe so many, many thanks. Mary.
Thank you so much, Dailen and Elizabeth. And let me add my own thanks and welcome to everyone here today and the hundreds, can you imagine, hundreds more watching via our webcast. One of those webcasters is Joanne McGrath, an Alverno alumna whose immediate belief in this project and whose inspiring early commitment of $5 million jump-started this campaign. A special welcome to you, Joanne. This is such an exciting day. We've all looked forward to it for a very, very long time. It's also a very important day. When you think about some of the really big questions facing our nation, so many of them involve higher education. What we're starting today increases Alverno's ability to respond to these critical issues and opportunities. So let me give you just a few examples. First, consider the changing world of work. In 20 years, some of you, especially our students, will be working in companies that don't yet exist, doing jobs that we can't even imagine right now. How do we prepare for that kind of uncertainty? By focusing on the development of our students' abilities. Every year, the Association of Colleges and Universities surveys 300 companies of all sizes to determine the kind of applicants they're seeking. It's not just that they want more college graduates, they want more of a particular kind of college graduates. Last year, 9 out of 10 survey respondents said that the abilities to think critically, communicate clearly, and solve complex problems is more important than an applicant's undergraduate major. More than 90% also ranked the abilities to make ethical judgments, intercultural skills, and the capacity for continued new learning as most important. Does that sound familiar? The world of higher education is just now beginning to focus on teaching and assessing for these abilities that make effective employees and citizens. Alverno has been doing that for over 40 years. We were the pioneers, and we are still improving our curriculum every day. Neuroscientists have been increasingly interested in the design of spaces that promote learning. What they're learning and finding is that you don't develop abilities like these in big lecture halls. The most effective learning spaces are human-scaled and flexible. They have rich communication technologies that connect students with resources beyond the walls of the classroom. They encourage active face-to-face learning. Well, that describes the new facilities we're developing to a T. What we're building is ideally suited for the Alverno approach to learning. The results will give us and our graduates even more of an edge as they make their mark on our community and in our world. Second, consider today's debate over the value of higher education. If I have to hear one more time, is college worth it? I worry that this debate will keep college degrees out of the hands of those who most need and deserve them. To ensure a brighter future for this community and our country, we cannot let that happen. At Alverno, our mission has always been to provide an elite liberal arts education that is accessible to all. That's why today we are the most inclusive college in the state of Wisconsin. Thank you. This diversity of age, race, religion, and socioeconomic status gives us a rare and precious opportunity for students, faculty, and staff to learn from one another and to develop the abilities, skills, and experiences required in tomorrow's world. And we can't work together without spaces to get together. Our new campus improvements will provide those spaces in abundance. There are so many other ways that the improvements made possible by the Promise and Power campaign improve the education our students receive and the impact they will make. In a minute, we'll see a new video that highlights many of them. But before we do, I think it's important to remind ourselves that the results of these improvements will ripple far and wide, strengthening our college's impact 1,000-fold. Thanks to each and every one of you for making all that possible. We've worked so hard. Now let's enjoy this wonderful moment. To help us celebrate, I'd like to unveil the new Promise and Power campaign video that will tell our story as we bring this campaign over the top. Thank you.
When I grow up, I want to be a banker to keep people's money safe.
When I grow up, I want to be a nurse to help people feel better. When I grow up, I want to be a scientist because they discover new things.
Ambitions like these are stepping stones to our future. Our tomorrows are only as bright as our ability to develop them. So someday, when these girls are ready for college, Alverno must be ready for them.
When young women are ready to turn their dreams into realities, they need a college that can help them become their best. For more and more young women, that's Alverno. It helps women do more and accomplish more.
Hi, I'm Erin Dulek, a junior here at Alverno.
And I'm D'Angela Barnes-Ross, and I'm also a junior. Like our classmates, we chose Alverno because it does an awesome job with helping students build brighter futures.
It's obviously important for us, but it's important for our future professions too. Because really, this world needs all the capable women it can get.
Just look at some of the leaders who have graduated from Alverno. More than 15,000 alums are working in fields like healthcare, business, education, science and technology, and community service.
Many employers say they can spot the Alverno grads in their workplaces. Just the abilities that they bring to the job, like communication, teamwork, problem solving, and valuing, really set them apart.
Erin, D'Angela, and all Alverno students have big footsteps to follow. There's a long line of Alverno graduates who are leaders in their professions, in their communities, and in our world. And it's about to get longer. We're expecting 25,000 more students during the next 25 years. We want to make sure they get the best education possible. And that's why we're launching the Promise and Power campaign. It will support the biggest upgrade ever made to this campus, and every bit of it will help tomorrow's women achieve their dreams and make powerful impacts after they graduate.
First on the list of improvements, more classrooms. Enrollment here has grown 35% within the past decade, and Alverno now serves 2,600 students with only 34 classrooms. And believe me, that's crowded. The Promise and Power campaign will add 6 new classrooms to accommodate for Alverno's growing enrollment. These will be classrooms of tomorrow for tomorrow, and they're designed to support Alverno's active approach to teaching and learning. They'll all have flexible seating, full internet connections, and advanced communication technologies.
Alverno undergraduate business majors and MBA students do a great job of developing the abilities that employers are looking for: communication, teamwork, problem solving, and international perspectives. But tomorrow's business managers and execs need to be much more tech savvy and globally connected. These new classrooms will help.
Alverno has more nursing students than any school in the state. Thanks to the Promise and Power campaign, they're going to be better prepared for tomorrow's healthcare challenges. A new state-of-the-art simulation center will give them the opportunity to practice dozens of advanced nursing procedures. Nursing simulation centers help nurses the same way flight simulators help pilots. Students experience nursing challenges in settings where everything is real, except the patient.
High-fidelity simulation has transformed clinical nursing education. While there are many positive outcomes to simulation, we have identified 4 key benefits. Students can have experiences they would never have in a normal clinical educational setting. They can have standardized experiences where all students experience the same thing. Students can be allowed to make mistakes, and it certainly increases student self-confidence. To me, that's priceless. We'll have 5 separate simulation suites in our new center, and every student will use them. They'll make tomorrow's nursing graduates more confident, more capable, and more effective.
Did you know 40% of Alverno students take art and dance courses each year? To fulfill graduation requirements, every student must study and practice the arts. That's why we need art and dance studios that inspire students and help their creative spirits soar. Promise and Power will double the space devoted to arts education with 4 new art studios and a new dance studio.
We're excited about the new art studios. They'll be filled with natural light and technologies that will allow us to connect with art resources around the world. And right in the middle will be an exciting new art gallery. Its exhibitions will provide a daily dose of beauty and inspiration for all our students.
Now for the improvement that students are looking forward to most, and it's right here in the heart of the campus, the Commons.
The Commons is where students, faculty, and staff eat, meet, and work together. But it was built 60 years ago, back when the college only had 800 students. There's 3 times as many of us now. Sometimes this room just won't hold us all.
The new Commons will nearly double in size, and it will include an area for student group activities, a larger food service area, study and meeting rooms that students can reserve, and a cafe for late night breaks.
Most student services will be located within easy reach on the student main street next to the Commons. An outdoor garden and seating area called the Heritage Plaza will commemorate school sisters who have worked and taught here.
We are so proud at Alverno to be one of the largest women's colleges in the country and that we have sustained continuous enrollment growth over the last decade. We're also proud that over 90% of our graduates are employed within 6 months of graduation, when only nationally that's about 55%. It all begins here. This is where women who want more become more. If we strengthen the start of their professional journeys, we multiply the impact they'll have throughout their lives. The Promise and Power campaign goal is $30 million. That's what it takes to ready our campus for the next half century and the 25,000 students coming our way. But here's the good news. We've already raised more than 90% of it. With your help and the help of other Alverno alums and friends, we'll reach it soon. Help build a better Alverno that helps women for generations to come.
Do it for me.
Do it for me.
And for me. And for all future students like me. Please.
Thank you, Mary. We love the video.
Aaron and D'Angela, the two students who narrated the video, didn't they do a great job?
And now, it's time to say thanks to the people whose gifts to Alverno make this bright new future possible, the Promise and Power campaign donors.
At first, I thought these donors were just investing in the buildings here. But what they're really investing in is the people who will use them, especially as students.
When you come to Alverno, you figure out pretty quickly that the faculty and staff expect a lot from you. Now, we're realizing that you, Promise and Power donors, expect a lot from us too. You're making a $30 million investment in us and the 25,000 or so students who will follow.
Don't worry, we're worth it. We're going to make you so proud. And more than anything else, please know how grateful we are. Not just Elizabeth and me, but all the students here today and the thousands more to come. We know how much of this world's work falls on the shoulders of women. And you know what we say? Bring it on. Thanks to you, we're going to be so ready.
Now, please join us in welcoming two men who truly understand how much the world needs more strong women. Paul Purcell and Don Layden co-chair the Promise and Power campaign with Ellen Gardner, a 1969 alum.
Paul is chairman and CEO of Robert W. Baird & Company. In addition to serving on Alverno's board and co-chairing the Promise and Power campaign, he co-chairs the board of Teach for America Milwaukee and serves on the boards of the Greater Milwaukee Committee, Discovery World, the United Performing Arts Fund, the United Way of Greater Milwaukee, and more.
Gosh, he's busy enough to qualify as an honorary woman. So is Don Layden. Don is partner at Quarles & Brady Law Firm and also a partner at Robert W. Baird Venture Partners. He serves on the Milwaukee Area Workforce Investment Board, as well as the board of the Milwaukee Art Museum and Summerfest. And he chairs the board of Schools That Can Milwaukee. He even travels to the Philippines to serve on the Consuelo Foundation, which supports women and children there.
Please join us in welcoming Paul and Don.
Thank you to everyone. Very much. I'm going to start, but I'm not going to touch the honorary woman comment. I've learned. And I have a wife and 2 daughters, so I'm just going to move right along. But I'm honored. When Mary Meehan approached me about co-chairing the campaign, I have to admit that my first thoughts were about 82 reasons why I should say no and not do it. Traveling a lot, serving on many other boards, chairing some, with lots of fundraising, and I had a back operation coming up. But then I thought, so what? This is much more important than all those other things. Providing access to the best possible education for every student in Milwaukee is the most important thing that all of us can do. And that is precisely what happens at Alverno.
When I was asked to join Paul and Ellen as campaign co-chair, I knew right away how important it was to help. I know how important Alverno is to this community and to educators around the world who come here to learn Alverno's proven education and assessment methods. We also knew how much the college needed to expand. We went through a planning process and heard firsthand from faculty, staff, and students about a campus built for 800 that will soon be serving 3,000. But we were coming out of a recession, as you'll recall, and we weren't really sure how people would respond. Paul and I have both been involved in fund drives like this before, and we have to tell you, the response from our donors has been outstanding. People all across this community stepped up to help with this effort. Today, we want to thank them and ensure that the help they're providing is remembered by Alverno for generations to come.
So today we celebrate. And here's what we'd like best about this celebration. We're inside. Although it's pretty nice by relative standards. We don't have to stand out in the cold trying to loosen up a few clods of frozen soil so we can turn them over with a shovel. Instead, we're here on a stage with a ceremonial beam that our leadership donors and campaign volunteers are now going to sign. 40, 50 years from now, their names will still be holding up in Alverno education, making it possible for thousands and thousands of young women to get one of the best educations anywhere.
Well, I like being inside too. But I also like that we have so many donors to thank this afternoon.
We have to start by honoring our honorary campaign chairs, Jan and Vince Martin, the one and only Sister Joelle Reed, Roy and Bobby Ryman. With them in our corner, we couldn't go wrong. They have all been steadfast in finding and offering support throughout the campaign, and on behalf of Alverno, we are extremely grateful.
We also need to thank the Alverno advancement staff. They have been tireless in their support and in going out and finding donors to this campaign and telling the Alverno story. Now, this is going to be a little like the Academy Awards, except that none of you are going to get access to a microphone. We'll call the donors and volunteers up to the stage to sign the beam. And to start, we want to recognize a supporter who's been one of Alverno's strongest cheerleaders. Whether it's support for a grant request or help with a local issue, recognizing the college's civic engagement, he's always been a true Alverno friend and one of my best friends. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Tom Barrett.
There he is.
You get the sign?
Next, we'd like to bring Mary Beth and Jim Burkus and Mark and Sandy McSqueeney to the stage. In addition to generous personal contributions, Mary Beth and Mark both served as board chairs for Alverno during this campaign and helped inspire $10.4 million in gifts from the Alverno Board of Trustees. Well done. Okay. Next, we'd like to invite Mary Meehan, Sister Joelle Reed, and the School Sisters of St. Francis U.S. Province team to come and sign the beam, please. Okay. Next, we would like to invite Cecilia Gore, Robert and Kathryn Hudson, Jean Mayer, and Mary Jo Layden to the stage, please.
Paul, I don't know if it's you or me, but we raised a little bit more money.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Next, we invite the Bucyrus Foundation of the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, Peter Bruce, the Greater Milwaukee Foundation, and Food Services, Inc. to the stage. Next, we invite Gary Gurnaugh, Jacqueline Frederick, Steve Lundeen, and the Daniel M. Soroff Charitable Trust to the stage.
Next, we would like to invite A.O. Smith and the Robert W. Baird Foundation to the stage, please. Next, we invite Ricardo and Margaret Diaz, the Burke Foundation, Elaine Burke, and Marcia Saylor to the stage, please. So did you. Thank you so much.
And now we ask Patricia and Bill Wilde, Barbara Wyatt Sibley, Christine Obrecht, and Patricia Hoffler to the stage.
Now we would like to invite the Ramirez family, Abby and Omar Andrich, Suzanne and Richard Piper Family Foundation, and the Jane Bradley Pettit Foundation to the stage.
Next, we ask Sister Tony Gradiznik, Howard Jacob, Kristen Bergstrom, and Lloyd Dickinson, and Marianne Heckman to the stage. Next, we ask Sister Barbara Lee Sieferman, Rose Spang, Judith Drinka, and Philippa DeBella Weber. Flip, I didn't know that was your whole name. To the stage.
Almost. We're getting close. There's one more name that needs to be on that beam, and that's you, Don. Your commitment to this campaign extends far beyond your generous personal contribution. You've connected us with so many donors throughout the community and presented our case so passionately and effectively. We all want to thank your work.
Paul, we've done this together, so you should sign the beam with us. You've led this campaign and the campaign committee brilliantly. There are a lot of campaigns that started at the same time ours did, and they're not even close to where we are, which makes us feel pretty good. And we still do have a little bit to go, and I'm confident that we're going to get over the finish line with the continued great leadership from you and from Ellen and the rest of the team to make it happen. Neither of us could have done this without our co-chair, Ellen Gardner, and so we're going to ask her to join us. She is
awesome.
She is truly a model Alverno alum. Ellen has been gracious and tenacious in inspiring support from the community and her fellow alums. So let's all sign the beam and get to work finishing the campaign successfully.
That was fantastic. The beam with the donors' names on it will always be a part of the campus and a part of Alverno's history.
Now, we'd like to ask the School Sisters of St. Francis to add their blessings on the project we're beginning today. The School Sisters of St. Francis have given spirit, faith, and a commitment to excellence to Alverno since they opened it in 1887.
We'd like to call on all school sisters to give their traditional blessing to this project and the thousands of lives it will touch. The School Sisters U.S. Provincial Leadership Team, Sister Carol Rigali, Sister Deborah Fumagalli, and Sister Marilyn Kettler will lead the blessing.
What a great day. The School Sisters of St. Francis hold deep pride in the mission of Alverno College as it has grown and served so many for more than 126 years. As campaign donors and volunteers crossed the stage, they received a piece of ivy. Ivy is a perfect representation of what happens within a person through education. On its own, ivy will remain creeping near the ground. But given the right foundation for climbing, one small ivy plant can grow and grow to the sky. Alverno provides that foundation for all of its students. All of you have helped to provide that foundation for growth for both the students and for the college. In a tribute to all of you and to all Alverno is and will become, the School Sisters of St. Francis wish to offer our special blessing. We ask all school sisters to please stand and join in this blessing. I can't see. Are we ready? Okay, do it.
May God bless you and keep you. May the Holy One grant you mercy. May the face of love shine on you and give you peace, and give you peace.
Thank you, sisters. We're almost done, but the campaign is not. When we come back to school next fall and walk into the new commons in the first floor, we'll feel so much better if it's paid for.
In a few minutes, we'll be celebrating the start of construction with a special program featuring Alverno musicians, faculty, students, and others.
But first things first, we have two special guests who want to tell you why it's so important to support this campaign and how. Gardner graduated from Alverno in 1969 and went on to become the first woman to serve as president of Meritech, Wisconsin. She has co-chaired this campaign with Don and Paul, focusing on involving alums. Alums, by the way, have given $8 million to this campaign already.
Joining her is a woman about to graduate from Alverno, Carla Echeveste. Carla was valedictorian of Hamilton High School 4 years ago, and Alverno is just the beginning of her educational journey. After she graduates, she plans on entering a combined MD, MBA program.
Please welcome Ellen and Carla.
Because I'm at Alverno, I know we have a very discerning audience, so you've assumed I'm the one that graduated in 1969.
And I'm Carla, a proud member of the class of 2014.
Whether you graduated in 1969 or 2014, one thing you learn at Alverno is this: anything important enough to start well is important enough to finish well. When I attended Alverno, we didn't have abilities or assessments, believe it or not. However, those very important concepts for teaching and learning at Alverno were very much in the mind's eye of Sister Joelle Reed, and also in the initial stages of practice on the part of two professors I had the great opportunity to learn from, Sister Georgine Locher and Sister Austin Doherty. I am forever grateful for that. Then, as now, at Alverno we faced high expectations. The message from Sister Joelle and other leaders was very clear. You are capable of doing whatever you set your mind to doing.
And I am proof that anything is possible if you put your mind to it. My parents came here from Mexico when I was young so that I could have better opportunities in my life. They reminded me every day to take on every challenge and to do my absolute best in everything that I set forth. That work paid off. When it came to picking a college, I had chances to go to the University of Chicago, Georgetown, Harvard, and others. But I chose Alverno. My sister had gone here, and I knew I would be challenged here and supported like nowhere else. Not just to get good grades, but also to really grow. You know that woman that Mary was talking about earlier? The one that wants to accomplish more? That's me. And there's so many more just like myself.
As Alverno people, we have another important challenge to finish. We're very close to finishing this campaign, but we're not quite done. We need another $1.9 million to finish, and I know we're very much up to it.
I think of all the young women who I know could use an Alverno education to lift them up. I think of the young girls who someday are going to bring their dreams to this campus, determined to make them realities. And I ask you to think of the promise of all of those young women and the power you have to lift them to the heights they never imagined.
Those young women, the leaders of tomorrow, are why I and so many have already made gifts. Soon, you will have an opportunity to join us in supporting Promise and Power.
So please, take this opportunity and make the most of it.
By helping to finish this campaign, you can help start so many young women on one of the most meaningful journeys of their lives. Thank you for making so much possible.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen and Carla, for reminding us that we can all play a part in making this happen for Alverno, for students today and tomorrow.
And now, please join us in a special musical celebration of Alverno past and future, put together by Alverno faculty, students, and alums. We ask that you refrain from taking flash photos during the remainder of the show, and at the end, when you are asked to stand and sing, you will find the music in the center of your program.
When you're done singing, join us in the Sister Joelle Reed Center in Rotunda for a reception and celebrating. Thank you all in person and online for joining us today.
When you consider the impact Alverno has made, you wonder, did Alverno's founders have any idea of the great journey they were beginning? Did they realize Alverno someday would change countless lives and shape education around the globe? The obvious answer is no. How could they have known? But consider the determination and faith that brought Alverno's founders to that day.
In 1873, a small band of determined women made the long, arduous journey here from their home in Schwarzbaden, Germany. They had no invitation other than their conviction that God needed them here, serving immigrants to the American Midwest. Together, they formed the School Sisters of St. Francis and settled in Campbellsport, Wisconsin. Within a decade, their members were teaching schools at 5 Midwestern states. To help meet the growing need for teachers, they decided to headquarter their operations in Milwaukee. By 1887, their new mother house on Layden Boulevard was ready to open. A wing of rooms housed the new St. Joseph's Teachers College, established to prepare order members to serve as teachers. These sisters answered the same call that beckoned their migrant forebearers. They came as students of teaching to become teachers of learning. The Music Conservatory was the first educational venture to bear the name Alverno. In 1931, a school for nurses opened. By the middle of the century, lay students were beginning to enroll. The 3 schools excelled side by side, always restlessly seeking the next step ahead.
So before you decide that the women gathered on that first day could never have envisioned us here today, celebrating Alverno's remarkable story and its newest step ahead, remember this. As entrepreneurs, they already had learned that every well-chosen step ahead brings you closer to something greater. And as believers, they acted with the conviction that nothing is impossible. Did they know their journey would lead to this wonderful day? I answered this way. They certainly understood that the promise of learning is limitless, and the power of teaching makes anything possible.
Building a future here on this land. Building a future here with our hands. On this bridge to the world, we step up, we stand tall. The power we own shapes the promise we dream. Building a future, we answer the call. Building a future, challenging all. We look back with pride and look forward with hope. Shaping the world, women of peace. Shaping the world, women of faith. Building a future, women of love.
The School Sisters of St. Francis made a home for teaching and learning right here in Milwaukee. But how did the three separate colleges they created become Alverno College? And how did it find its way from a suite of rooms in the Mother House to our beautiful campus today? It was 1946, and it seemed everyone longed for the solace of home. The Second World War had finally come to its terrifying finish. Like many Americans everywhere, the school sisters mourned the loss of loved ones. The Great Depression was finally receding, but memories of want and worry still haunted the land. If there were ever a time for respite, this seemed it.
Sister Alexia, one of the school sisters' founders, once remarked, "Impossible is a word I do not know." Apparently, respite wasn't in the order's vocabulary either. In a move that echoed the vision and conviction that originally brought them to America, the school sisters ventured off on a bold new course. They would merge their teachers' college, music conservatory, and nursing school into a 4-year liberal arts college. They acquired the 46-acre Fisher Farm on Milwaukee's southern edge and built a college, theater, and resident hall big enough for 800 students, 4 times the number then enrolled. A strong liberal arts curriculum would give students a lifelong intellectual and moral compass. In addition to education, music, and nursing, they would expand majors in the natural sciences, humanities, and social sciences.
It was more than a new campus. It was a new college, and they would call it Alverno. And when it opened in 1953, it gave the college for the first time a home of its own. It provided the very best kind of solace for those weary of war and depression, hope. Because in this new home, faculty, staff, and students reaffirmed the conviction that had guided Alverno from day one. The promise of learning is limitless, and the power of teaching makes anything possible.
Building a future here on this land. Building a future here with our hands. On this bridge to the world, we step up, we stand tall. The power we own shapes the promise we dream. Building a future
Not every great idea gives birth to wonderful new realities, but sometimes a great notion finds an expression powerful enough to bend the course of history itself. How did Alverno move from a college that prepared teachers, musicians, and nurses to a college that taught the world how to teach and learn? The transition began in 1968 when the school sisters created a lay board of trustees to guide the college into the future. Amid the financial and organizational tumult that followed, the college's new president, Sister Joelle Reed, asked the faculty to consider how Alverno should equip students to address the most important challenges in their disciplines and communities.
This question focused on students. Most of higher education was moving in an opposite direction, towards larger lecture halls and teaching assistants in the critical first-year courses, and more emphasis on research than teaching. In their discussions, Alverno educators recognized that information alone would not equip students for the future. It became the first college to require students to learn wisdom of their disciplines and also master 8 specific abilities, each of which helps students bridge the space between abstract learning and concrete action. Through performance assessments, students learn by doing. Every student completes at least one internship, a requirement that Alverno pioneered in higher education. To many, this ability-based education seemed an education gone awry. Where were the lecture halls? Standardized tests? And what was this feedback everyone was talking about?
But the best minds in education around the world took note. So did U.S. News and World Report, the New York Times, and others. This was a curriculum that made sense, and its promise was extraordinary. From across the world, educators came to see the Alverno curriculum in action. The stream of visitors continues to this day. Here at Alverno was a college that had found a new way to deliver on its founding principle. The promise of learning is limitless, and the power of teaching can make anything possible.
So we gather today, ready to add a new page to Alverno's storied history. We are about to embark upon the most transformative renovation that has ever been made to our campus. And the big question is, how will this change us? The improvements we begin today will give us warm, welcoming, and innovative spaces for teaching and learning. New simulation technologies in nursing, new classrooms, new studio spaces for art and dance, and new learning centers and gathering places where faculty, staff, and students can come together. Today we begin work on this dynamic new home, brimming with possibilities for collaborative action and individual achievement. But an equally important question is, how won't these physical changes alter who we are?
We remain, as always, dedicated to the education of women. We are now one of the largest women colleges in the nation. We will continue to provide an education that offers more for women who seek more for themselves, their families, and their communities. We will continue to lead the development of ability-based education. The complexity of our globalized future requires clear thinkers, good communicators, ethical decision makers, and leaders who appreciate how closely linked we are all becoming. Educational leaders and policymakers are realizing that we at Alverno have known all along. The student is the center of the educational enterprise. We understand how to keep her there. And we will continue to celebrate our inclusiveness as educators and believers and responsible citizens. We understand higher education must always serve as a step up, a step ahead, but not a step apart. As Mother Clemens, head of the Order of the School of St. Francis, encouraged, always more, always better, always with love.
Our journey has brought us far and changed us in wondrous ways. But as we begin this new chapter, we hold fast to the truth that has brought us to this day. The promise of learning is limitless, and the power of teaching can make anything possible.
Building a future here on this land. Building a future here with our hands. On this bridge to the world, we step up, we stand tall. The power we hold shapes the promise we dream. Building a future, we answer the call. Building a future, challenging all. We look back with pride and look forward with hope. Shaping the world, women of peace. Shaping the world, women of faith. Building a future, women of
From high atop a mountain, with hearts and minds ablaze, to our dearest alma mater, we sing our song of praise.
From high atop a mountain, we hear our voices blend. We know that on our paths in life, our learning never, never, never ends. Oh, Alverno, Alverno, our beloved school, we sing with voices strong, guided by an inner light, to a place where all we belong. We come from there.